Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Sometimes that happens. This is Coffee with Stacey, and it is a Saturday morning. And more importantly, I want to say happy Emancipation Day. I know that today is also the 4th of July, but for Virgin Islanders, this is such an important day. Yesterday being Emancipation Day. As you can see, I've honored it by my t-shirt, Emancipation, free-ish since July 3rd, 1848, when General Butto, Mr. Gottlieb, and so many others fought, organized for our freedom. It's an important day for us to reflect. I think this year is I know this year is the 172nd emancipation of those who were in the Danish West Indies. I'm one of those rarities in the Virgin Islands where at that point, all of my ancestors were here on the island of St. Croix. Most not living at that point in Frederiksted. The majority were in, some in Christiansted, Mid-Island, going into the West as well. I know that the first Plaskett that came here from Cumberland, England, is buried in the graveyard right in town, across from the English church, the Episcopal church. And I've told my kids that that's where I want to be buried. Not necessarily because I feel kind of attached to him, but I think it would be just desserts that the Black progeny of his journey here should rest on top of him. And I love Frederiksted. I want to be in the town. I want to see what's happening. You all know that I have my office right here in the town. When I came home in 2004, I worked in Christiansted and I lived in town on Prince Street. And my boss would always be like, why are you traveling so far? That is so far to travel. But for me, it was worth it to be in both towns. And now I am living in the town of Christiansted, which is amazing. And my office is in Frederiksted, so I get to be a part of both. But, I talked about coming back home in 2004. Most of my adult life, all of my adult life before that, all of, my schooling had been in the States. And I think it would be really interesting to talk to Virgin Islanders that are living during this time in the United States. A lot of the protests, Black Lives Matter. Last month was Caribbean History Month, Caribbean American Heritage Month, which is a recognition that Congress and the federal government, the president signs a declaration every year, and for June to be Caribbean American Heritage Month, recognizing the achievements and the contribution of Caribbean Americans to the American experience. I thought it would be interesting to put on someone who is a member of the diaspora and who actually is working on bringing us all together while we live in the States. So is Nicole around? Can we get Nicole on there? Oh.
Good morning, Delegate Congresswoman Plastic.
Hey, how are you, Nicole? So Nicole was just elected as the president of the Virgin Islands Association. Now, what's the full name of the group?
Virgin Islands Association, DC.
DC. So this is more the DMV Virgin Islanders, right?
That's correct.
So you got Maryland, DC, and Virginia.
That is correct.
So tell us
we
about the group.
also have members in the state of Georgia. We have members in the state of North Carolina. And we have members, financial members here in the Virgin Islands.
Great.
So although you may not have to live in the DMV area, you're more than welcome to join our association from wherever you are.
Right. And now, how long have you been a member of the group?
I've been a member and supporting the association for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get hooked up with the group? What made you decide to be a part of this organization?
Well, I always, of course, they always have the fun side of,
Mm-hmm.
of activities and community service, but more importantly, that we support our youth. And so the primary premise of the association is definitely our scholarships,
Okay.
where we fulfill scholarships to our youth from the Virgin Islands.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 2020, we're actually celebrating 10 years that we are providing the Robert Finch Scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have two other scholarships that we do is provide is a Monty scholarship. That's I think it's $250 to students for books, and then the second one is the Beverly Scott Lift Scholarship.
Nice. So tell me, when you talk about the association, what's the fun part of the association?
Well, we have our annual Virgin Islands picnic, and that would have been this past June.
Right.
Unfortunately, because of COVID, we've had to suspend that. And then, so that would normally, and our all white party. We've previously had on our boat, but then last year we decided to do it on land, and that was such a success to have
Really?
yeah, I think we had more people. We were able to, I think we had about 300 to 400 people at our all white party, as opposed to when it's limited on the boat, we could only have a capacity of so much on the boat, on the Spirit of Washington. So when we did it on land, I think it exceeded our attendance. So that was great. And we were able to raise more money then.
So, Nicole, I have people who are very close to me know that I have ADD. And the idea of being on a boat for,
There's you.
multiple hours and I can't get off and I have to be with
Oh,
that group for that period of time freaks me out.
oh, wow. Okay, well, we changed that. So hopefully
So you'll
going
see me.
forward, yes. So although we didn't have our Virgin Islands annual picnic and the all white party, um, we're trying to engage our members, socially now. So
Right.
one thing that we do each Wednesday, we have a what we call a Wisdom Wednesday. So we
Mm-hmm.
post something on our Facebook. We post a Virgin Islands quote or a saying, and we try to have the members engage and try to, share what other sayings you have. So that's our
Nice.
Wisdom Wednesdays. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, and so the other fun event is our annual Winter Ball. That will be
Uh-huh.
coming up January 2021. However,
Mm-hmm.
due to the COVID situation, and we're not certain what the fall and winter will look like for, uh, you know, residents across the country, we're considering our options with the hotel and seeing, what our options are if we to host it and how can they accommodate 200 to 300 people socially and distantly, or will
Right.
we have to cancel? So we're in conversation right now with the hotel management.
Good. So I see Miss Williams is with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ms.
Um,
Williams.
did you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
Oh, I definitely would love to shout out my board of directors. They are working so hard and diligently behind the scenes, even though that we're not actively doing events, that we're currently, as a new board, we're setting our foundation. So I'd like to introduce our board. We have our Vice President, Mr. Kenrick Roberts.
Uh-huh.
We have our Secretary, Miss Julie Carter. We have our treasurer, Miss Ingrid Naughton, and our
Uh-huh.
member at large, Miss Janelle Gottlieb George. And now we have about 8 fundraising committees. So I'm going to say them from the top of my head. I hope I don't forget anyone. We have
Okay.
our Cherry Blossom, Miss Diane Parrott, our legislative and bylaws, Mr. Wilfred Scouten, I'm sorry. Our fundraising committee, Abigail Hutchison. Our public relations and cultural affairs, Dr. Patricia Morrison. And then we have our, I feel I am forgetting someone. That's like
They'll
fundraising.
probably bring it up to you.
Yes. So we
So,
have our scholarships and elections. Mrs. Marva Gums Jennings. I
okay,
shouldn't forget her. She's
cool.
very vital. She handles our elections and scholarships.
So, Derek Williams, good morning to you from Queens. How are you doing? And then also, Monique Dute, of course, is
Oh,
giving you a shout out. Nicole,
thank you, Monique.
I know she's a great asset to the
Yes,
organization, right?
yes, she is, and a dear personal friend. So
Yes.
thank you.
So once again, Nicole is the new president of the Virgin Islands Association of DC, which handles the area of the DMV, as well as individuals in North Carolina and even some members back home. So,
Yes.
Nicole, you talked about the work that you all are doing, and then also some of the scholarship and the fun stuff that you do. Talk about being a Virgin Islander in the mainland, the experience, how you all are trying to keep culture alive, how you all are trying to push for things that are important to the Caribbean and to the Virgin Islands.
Absolutely. So, of course, I feel it's an honor because, we are from the US, but we are from the Virgin as a Caribbean, even though,
Mm-hmm.
we are under the US flag. So,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of you'll see when you drive throughout the area in the DMV, you see a VI flag. And so it's like, oh, you're able to spot somebody out. And that's a privilege. The work that we do, even though provide scholarships even to Virgin Islanders home, but we also allow for members, their offsprings and children can apply for the scholarships as well. We also do community work. And so one of the things that we'll do is when we have our Christmas drive. So sometimes the items that we collect in the month of December, we can support at home in the DMV, or sometimes we've shipped the products to the Virgin Islands. I know we've supported a military family providing Christmas gifts to military children. So that's something that's a highlight um, going forward. So, we represent ourselves in the community in the DMV, as well as we try to work with the community here in the Virgin Islands. One of the big things that we just did 2 years ago, of course, as you were aware and part of, is the relief for the hurricanes Irma
Right.
and Maria, where we shipped maybe tons of relief funds and products to the Virgin Islands to benefit all three islands. So
Mm-hmm.
we definitely.
Nicole, you're getting a bunch of shout outs from people.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, this is great.
Randolph Christian, you got Miss Naughton there, a
Yes,
whole bunch of shout outs to you.
great.
They're
And
all very excited about you being the new president.
oh, wonderful. Thank you for your support. I know Mr. Randall Christian's from St. Thomas. He lives in the DMV. And
Mm-hmm.
Ingrid Naughton, she's our treasurer. And one committee I neglected to share is a membership committee, Mr. Jerome Oliver. So
Okay.
yep, thank you. And he just reminded me.
That's very, very important.
Mhm.
So you talked about the organization. I always get into everybody's business,
Mhm.
so don't feel a kind of way.
No
But
problem.
what's it? I mean, how long have you been there away from home? What do you feel? Okay, I'll give you my experience. I definitely have always seen myself as a Caribbean American. But I
Mhm.
think being a Virgin Island Caribbean person is very different because you
Yes.
have a different relationship with the United States than the other Caribbean
Caribbean Island.
nations do, right?
Yes.
And then sometimes you can also be subsumed by the culture of larger islands when you're
Mhm.
living in the States, whether it's Jamaica or Trinidad or some of
Yeah.
the others. So how do I know growing up in New York, it was very important for my parents to keep culture, right?
Yeah.
So there was this bar in Manhattan called the Whirlaway.
Hmm.
And if you needed to get a message back home, if someone died, or something happened, they not only got the papers from home, but there was a phone that you could use there that
Oh,
would talk, that they could pass messages. Because, 50s, not everybody had a phone,
absolutely.
but you could get messages that way. And people would send up, do you know what kring is?
Crin crin? No.
Yes. So it is dried callaloo bush.
Oh,
And
I've
really,
heard of it. Yes.
yeah,
I'm so
it's
glad that you said it.
really, really fine and
Yes.
packed hard into jars.
Oh, okay.
And so, you could buy that there. My mom used to always have like a bottle of that, like a
Oh,
mason jar packed with it,
interesting.
so that
That
if
was
she
a
had callaloo,
Crucian. Oh,
right,
Crucian put it in their callaloo. Okay, now I
right,
prepare callaloo, but I've never had crin. But I did
yeah.
hear about it. I think actually I was teased about it from a Crucian
Oh,
for
really?
not having for
So
not.
talk to me about your experience, being
So
away
I
from
have
home.
I left. I graduated from high school, Charlotte Amalia
Mhm.
High School in 1987, and I
So
left the island.
you're gonna shout out the chicken talks.
Of course, yes. When I say high school, it's kind of a given known. I get that all the time. That's okay. So Charlotte Amalia High School in 1987. I left there and I did my undergraduate at Bethune-Cookman, now university. It was a college then. And I graduated from Bethune-Cookman in 1991. And
Mm-hmm.
I started my master's degree at the University of Central Florida in Orlando, Florida. And then since relocated to Washington, D.C. area in 1995.
Wow.
Just a fun fact, I moved there the day after the Million Man March.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been in the DMV area since 1995, and I finished my master's degree at Strayer University there.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward my career, I'm currently a budget analyst at the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, and most people in the DMV would know that as our metro. It's our
Yes.
train and bus system for the area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my background is in financial and accounting and budget work now. So going in terms of my experience, keeping the culture in terms of, I'll do some cooking. My friends know I don't like to cook, but I love to eat.
So Nicole, you got to come over to our place in DC then.
Oh, please. I would love to. So once a year, I normally will fix a pot of callaloo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that. And, and just keeping basic traditions of your curry and your peas and rice and
Mm-hmm.
fish and saltfish. So I keep that, cooking throughout the year. My son will eat it. I have a 23-year-old. And
Wait,
so,
Monique said that's a fact. She's
yeah.
trying to blow you up that you are not into the cooking part.
Yes, I love to eat, don't like to cook. So no shame there. Yeah, so definitely. And so even in the Virgin Islands Association, we continue to keep the culture where we will have food sales with providing local foods and appetizers and desserts we have for sale. Of course, that helps with our fundraising. So we keep the culture there. With our public relations committee, we hope to also engage with just sharing cultural um, uh, events that, so we're going to start working with that. I know Dr. Pat, when we have our ball sometimes, Dr. Pat Morris and her Quail Bay
Yes.
group will perform there. So, we,
Wait, now Monique Matthews just put it out there that you will drive, you are the taster, and you will drive for food.
yes, I will. They're telling all my business. Those are my good friends, I tell you. I love, as I always tell friends, don't let my small frame fool you.
You could pack it in, right?
Yes. Definitely. So yeah, so we work with definitely as an association keep our culture going. Even when we have our VI picnics, we do invite the Mokojumbis. There's a group out of
Mm.
Baltimore, so we invite them to perform, and keeping the culture alive, certainly.
So when you were in school, did you find yourself hanging out with other Caribbean people?
Oh, yes.
Were there Virgin Islanders there? When you moved to the DMV, did you already have a circle of Virgin Islanders? How did that work?
So at the Bethune-Cookman College, well now university, there was a Caribbean Association. So in
Mm.
that Caribbean Association, of course, we had our Virgin Islands. We had a lot of residents from the Bahamas, being
Oh,
that it's
yes.
close to the Virgin Islands.
Right,
I'm sorry,
right.
it's close to Florida.
Florida, right.
There were a lot of Bahamians there. There were
Mm-hmm.
a few from, I think there was someone from St. Kitts, or
Mm-hmm.
but there were and one from and one of the African countries. So we had a great, diverse group of Caribbean. So yes, and there were a handful of Virgin Islanders. Matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
I remember when school would end for the semester, we would all rent a van and drive to Miami and fly out of Miami to come home on our
Nice,
breaks. So we
nice.
definitely supported each other.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you the two persons that were instrumental. She's no longer with us. Ione Kittners
Mm-hmm.
and Althea Hodge, we call her Tootsie. They looked
Mm-hmm.
out for us. A lot of the younger ones that came to the school there.
So there's one of my cousins, Greg Plaskett from North Carolina. Gregory, you could join the organization. They've got North Carolinians
Yes.
in the group,
Yes,
right?
there they are. Yes, I could definitely say Loan Soar. She's a member
Uh-huh.
of the association. She resides in North Carolina. Mhm.
Hmm. I
So
know when I was in undergrad at Georgetown, it was interesting because there was a black student association, but I didn't. But we didn't have a separate group for the Caribbean students. But
okay,
the Caribbean students hung out with each other anyway.
yes.
But we also, I think, hung out with a lot of the African students.
Hmm.
The Caribbean and the
Okay.
African students kind of grouped themselves together more than with the Black Americans,
Wow.
And it's interesting because I was at Georgetown when Patrick Ewing was there.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And on more than one occasion, he went to my aunt's house, my Aunt Tutti, because she lived in Oxon Hill. We were
Oh.
in
Mm-hmm.
Georgetown
Mm-hmm.
to get some good food for some fish
Wow.
and fungi, and
So how
and
did you know your aunt to get to
right.
connect?
Listen, none of us, it's so many of the girls that went when we went away to college in our family, the family found somebody who was related to us in the area and
Okay.
made sure that there was a meeting with those individuals so that they knew that there was someone you could go to if it was needed.
Wow.
I remember
Oh,
my freshman year, I got really sick one time in the dorm, and one of my cousins showed up and was like, Aunt Tutti said I had to come and get you. And they brought me in the car, and I went to the house, and all I can remember is her making cornmeal pop for me,
oh, yes.
right?
Yes. Nice. Oh, that's
Um,
great.
so I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Well, so for Virgin Islanders who are living in a place with that do not have Virgin Islands not living in a place with an organization, do you have some suggestions for them on how to, um, how they can get a taste of home or what they can do to reach out?
So definitely, right now, due to COVID, we are having our general member meetings virtually on Zoom. So unlike some people may not were in the past not able to come to meetings, at
Mm,
someone's home, you can definitely join the Zoom call. We have reached a good 50 to 55 members on the last two meetings we've had. Definitely, you could be a member from wherever you are and not only join our member meeting, but also join a committee. Um,
right.
we have one of our 8 committees that I mentioned earlier, and they too have virtual conference call meetings. You can support your energy and your ideas that way, even though you may not that be there to see the whole process to fruition
Uh-huh.
to the end of the event. You can
Right.
definitely be supportive in that way. virtually by joining the committee and sharing your energy and your ideas.
Mm-hmm. How did you find the other students from home when you were at Bethune-Cookman?
Well, one of my classmates, Elizabeth Matthias, she also attended Bethune-Cookman. When we were there, the first day you had freshman orientation.
Uh-huh.
I think my mother knew that Ione Kittners was there at the time, and she'd say, "You have to look out for my daughter." So she came on campus and definitely met with us, and we also learned that first day or first week of who other members that were there also. So we kind of build that relationship from the first week of being on campus.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, people could always use, I know my office, and I'm sure you guys would be amenable to helping people. Say you're in a town where there are not a lot of Black, people, or you're not sure, to call up and say, hey, can you help me find a connection to somebody,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely. So, even though our community, you'll be surprised when you get to talk to someone, the relationship you or connection you have with someone when you start calling a name as someone, just meeting one of your staff members earlier today, Miss Krieger.
Uh-huh.
I know her grandmother.
Mm.
So, to go back to the campus of Bethune, normally,
Uh-huh.
of course, we're coming from the Virgin Islands, we have an accent. So we're 17 years fresh out of high school, and we have this accent, and it's like, where are you from? And, to get that question, oh, there's another person from the islands down the hall. So that was another way that it's like, okay,
You from the islands?
yes. Oh, look, that's Congresswoman, that was a whole nother story. I kid you not, when will share with you that we were asked if we wore grass skirts and we lived in a tree. That was
What? Really?
very serious, very weird, unusual experience.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have
People knew
houses.
not to come to me with that
Right.
foolish.
We have a house just like you. So
It's interesting because when I went to undergrad, I had, I of course grew up in the States, so I didn't have an accent, right?
Okay.
But my older cousin, my cousin Miles Plaskett, was a senior at Georgetown when I was a freshman. And so that's how I got connected to all of the other Caribbean people, but I always identified as that and let people know that's what I was. So, the big joke was, oh, Stacey ain't no regular Black person. She's Caribbean, and remember, I'm old enough that, the song, what was it? Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen.
Caribbean Queen, yes.
Was out right then.
Oh,
so,
that was your handle, huh?
Hello. The Queen is here. The Queen is here.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, definitely. And as Caribbean, students, we almost carried ourselves differently than you'll find than the local Floridians, as you may. I'm not sure how to explain that, but you could definitely, tell that you're not from here.
Well, I remember there was a Black Student Union meeting that was a little contentious between the Black American students and the Caribbean students one time. And they even talked about the difference in the guys' walks. So the urban Black guys kind of walked forward, so they're leaned forward when they were walking. That's kind of the way to walk. And as a Caribbean guy,
we lean back.
Lean back.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
That's the demonstration of cool. One is to lean forward and one is to lean back. I was like,
keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, the physiological, the demonstration of culture and
Absolutely.
socializing is very different.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do stand out though.
definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
what did they say? West Indians came intentional. Uh,
Mm,
I think a lot of people come intentionally when they come to school. I just think that we may have a confidence in demonstrating that a little differently because we're used to Black-led societies, right?
absolutely. You mean in the Virgin Islands or back
Yeah,
home?
or in other
Absolutely.
Caribbean,
Caribbean.
nations, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So when you got to DC, you said you had a lot of friends as well that
Yeah,
were from.
so absolutely. So I had friends in the Laurel, Maryland area. So
Hmm.
coming there, even the same with my friend Loanne Sora and Tamara Hodge Wells, and they were there, and Elizabeth Estrel and Dwight Estrel, just to name a few that came on the they took me under their wing and showed me the different things to do around here. And absolutely. So yes, I have a family member, Lucinda
Uh-huh.
Todman,
Uh-huh.
my cousin. So yes, I had a circle established here. Interestingly enough, when I lived in Florida, I used to visit the DC area and had so much fun. It's like, man, there's so much to do up here. So
Right.
that was part of the reason why I relocated. I just thought that Maryland, DC was so much fun. So I had that circle established already.
So, it's so funny when I was looking at colleges to go to, my parents had a very defined list of what I could go to. It
Oh,
either it had to be an Ivy League or it had to be like a tier one top 15, top 10 college. That was it.
colleges. Okay. Okay.
Nothing else was allowed.
Okay.
And I was really interested in international affairs, and I went to Georgetown's Foreign Service School, but
Mhm.
I applied early decision because it was Chocolate City.
Oh, that's what they called it back then.
Yes, in the 80s, DC was Chocolate City because you
Yeah.
had Howard, you had University of Maryland, all the other universities, but
Correct.
Howard being there is the Mecca.
Absolutely.
And there were so many, Washington, DC is in itself at that time
Right.
was majority Black. It was
Mhm.
like, well,
Right.
I can't go to an HBCU, but I could be in an
With
HBCU.
TCU. So, even so back and, naively saying in 1987, I didn't know HBCU per
Mhm,
se. I just wanted
mhm.
to go to a school near Florida. I'm sorry, in Florida, near home. I wanted to be able
Uh-huh.
to just fly home easily. So my top two schools in Florida were Bethune-Cookman
Mhm,
University and Florida A&M. And then
mhm.
I did have one school in Virginia, which was Old Dominion. So those were my
Oh,
top
yes.
three choices. And I selected Bethune.
So, can you tell me, do you feel how different is it for your children, being a Caribbean person, than it is for you coming into this area? How do you intentionally try and keep them connected to home, through your organization or other places? Since I'm assuming, Nicole, they were raised in the States, right?
My son, yes, I do have one. I have a 23-year-old son. So
Mm-hmm.
luckily, and I'm very fortunate that every summer from the time he was 1.5 years old, I
Mm-hmm.
sent him to my mother in St.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas. And
Mm-hmm.
he did that until he was 15 years old. So
Till he
he
could work for the summer.
absolutely, and ironically, he did work. No, he worked. He went to a camp here in St. Thomas, and
Uh-huh.
by 14 and his 15, the 15 year at the year that summer, he was a camp counselor for the 3 or 4 year old group.
Nice. Nice.
So he grew when literally Summer grew up in the Virgin Islands. So
Mm-hmm.
he knows the food. He eats some of the food, and he I won't say he knows the music, and he danced. I can't tell you he danced well with the music, but he's familiar with the culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely keeping him engaged with what I do, and I still cook the food back home, and he'll come home once in a while and he appreciates it, but doesn't really appreciate it as yet.
Hmm. He will.
I pray so. I pray so.
It's so funny because I don't know, Alicia Barnes always talks about her brother who lives in the DMV.
Uh-huh.
And he reminds me so much of my father because she says that, when you go into his garage,
Uh-huh.
he has his flag. He
Yeah.
have, that's where he hangs out and his food and his domino table and everything. And that's how my parents kept
Mhm.
once you went inside our home, it was
Mhm.
like you were back home,
Absolutely. Well,
right?
I keep my dialect with my son, especially when I get upset with him.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
tongue twists a little bit, and he'll try to be slick and it's like, "What you say? What you
Yeah,
say?
he knows exactly
English."
what you meant.
Exactly. I say, you know exactly what I'm saying. so,
Uh,
so
but
definitely.
it's, so I was born in New York, raised there, moved here back to St. Croix, 2004. My older sons were already in high school or actually leaving and going to college.
Okay.
But the craziest thing, Nicole, is that like they have had roommates and their best friends are Caribbean.
Wow. So their culture is still Caribbean culture still stayed alive with them.
Right. Like my oldest son, his best friend is from St. Thomas.
Oh wow. Okay, great.
Met him in high school. And then the second son had a roommate for years, and his roommate was Caribbean.
Wow.
They after college they lived together, whatever. I just find it interesting how they still connect each other.
You said
Um,
your two sons were finished school in St. Croix?
no, out
Oh,
not even.
okay, okay.
They finished school in the States.
Gotcha.
hmm But
Oh,
they still were very intentional, I think, or I don't think they even recognized that what was in them, right?
right. And I think the same for my son too. You know,
Yeah.
just a couple days ago, I had a conversation with him, and it's like, oh well, when you gonna take me to St. Thomas to see, so I'm like, hey, you working now? I'll help you
hmm
with your ticket, but you can, you pay some and I'll pay some.
Yeah. None of them have settled down with a Caribbean woman, but
Mm.
I'm still quietly plugging that.
You're working your magic with that
I,
one.
I realize I can't be overt about it. You have to be, you gotta really be
Yeah,
slick.
be a subtle. Yeah, be a little subtle. Yeah.
hmm and,
Wow.
and and guys, not all of you, I actually like the girlfriends that are there right now, but there's enough sons that
That's
somebody, right?
that's correct.
I have four boys, so
Oh, some
somebody.
right. We could do a Caribbean VI plug in one of the four.
Right. So how do you reach out, do you think, to engage younger Virgin Islanders or younger Caribbean people who are living in the States to be a part of the organization?
A great question. So fortunately, our member at large, she works, and our membership chair, they work on our social media. That's a big part where we have on Facebook, of course, and Instagram, and definitely just reaching out in those and engaging that way to social media. So we've really, especially with COVID, and we've stepped up our social connection to our membership that way. Um, uh, so we also have something called a CRM, and that's
Mm-hmm.
customer relations management, where we use that to not only build our membership base, but really connect through correspondence with our membership. And that's more electronic. So our reports are there. We send out newsletters that way, and just keeping engaged with our membership and seeking new members. Absolutely. We've had, since I've taken office, have a 35% increase in membership. So
Nice.
we started at 83 members and we're 111 and rising.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
current encouraging folks to join us and see what we are. Like I said, until we're comfortable and we're safe to be in person, Our
Mm-hmm.
general membership meetings are virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And your
Well,
reports are sent to you, to all our financial members. You see the reports ahead of time. You see our agenda ahead of time. So we're become very efficient, or improve in our efficiency, I should say. We improve it.
cool. Cool. Well, I know that I've talked to you and Mr. Schulten, right?
Yes. Scouting. Yes.
Scouting
Mhm.
about helping me in the engagement with the legislative process. You know, that there are issues that are important to Virgin Islanders, issues that are important to the Caribbean, that we really need additional voices.
Yes.
And you guys are right there in DC. So
Yes.
having you all be the point can be really, really important. I had a conversation with Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who's the Prime Minister of Barbados, and
Okay.
she's just been made the president. She's the new president of CARICOM. And she is really, really interested in creating a political apparatus out of the Caribbean diaspora
Okay. Okay. Great.
that can, take 3, 4 issues and really push throughout the United States to make sure that that happens. You know,
Absolutely.
there are issues, there are banking issues and
Mhm.
immigration issues. For us, there are status issues that
Yes.
still need to be resolved. And they're interested in really supporting and working throughout. Listen, have you ever been to the New York Labor Day Parade?
Years ago. I haven't recently because of crowd. It's like that's too much people for me.
But think about how many Caribbean people there are that come to that.
Right there for that event. Yes.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands. Yes. So yeah,
So we have numbers and we're throughout the
absolutely.
United States. We've just got
Absolutely.
to be laser focused on ensuring that we fight for our rights and for things that are important to us. You know, I'm so proud of my Latinx community, how they really supported DACA and supported issues that are going on in Central America, in South America. But you know, there are 4 million Caribbean people in the United States,
Mhm.
and we're throughout this, the country. We really
Absolutely.
need to drive those issues that are going to make the Caribbean, benefit from this country, its proximity to the U.S. So I'm really looking forward to working with you on that.
Definitely. Definitely. I know Wolf Scouting is too also.
Good,
Yes.
good. So
Excellent.
I know that Japera wants me to pull up a video,
Okay.
but I wanted to see if you had any closing words for us.
Well, just first of all, thank you for having me as the president to representing the Virgin Islands Association in DC. I know
Hmm.
we're working to get all the other associations in the U.S. diaspora, whether it's Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Texas, and hopefully we can create a coalition and work
Right.
together collectively so we can meet all the needs. And just, again, a shameless plug is to join our website,
Mhm.
biadc.org, and check us out. Join our membership. We're working to do great things in the DMV area as well as the Virgin Islands community and try to partner with the territory here. And we can do things in the territory as well as work with your office to
Great.
so thank you so
Yes.
much for having me.
Thank you. Next one, I know I want to have the Freshwater Association of New
Oh, great.
York,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that's probably one of the oldest
Yes.
groups that we have.
Okay, I know for we at the VIDCA, we just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Awesome.
This was established in 1980. So
Mhm.
yeah, that I'll be interesting to see what the Freshwater Yankees. They're probably more than us. So, but yeah, see what year that they're celebrating also, and we do support them, and they support us. So that's a great thing.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's been great having you, Nicole. I'm going to give you some virtual flowers. I went walking this
Oh,
morning
Thank you so much. I received those. Thank you. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, supporters and friends out there.
So Japira wanted me, we had June was Caribbean American History Month.
Yes.
And so my staff reached out to a number of colleagues of mine in Congress who are from the Caribbean.
Oh,
and got us all to do a poem together.
oh.
We're missing a couple of people. So just to give you a heads up, we're missing Frederica Wilson, who is from her family. She has family from the Bahamas. We're missing Kamala Harris, who, of course, her dad is from Jamaica. And then, of course, some of the Latin Caribbean members are missing. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stopped me in the hallway. We had our social distance. She was like, I didn't get to be in the video, but I want to do it next year, which would be Puerto Rico, and Jennifer Gonzalez Colon, also from Puerto Rico, and Albio Siri, who is Cuban, was not in it. But we got a bunch of other members representing St. Kitts, Jamaica, Panama, and so we all did a video together. So I think Japira is going to play the video.
Okay.
You got it, Japira?
We are having a little technical difficulties. Give me about a couple seconds.
Japira she's the whiz behind the curtain.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Yeah, I enjoy communicating with your staff too.
So. Oh, good. They're awesome.
Yes, they are. They are.
We've been doing Throwback Thursdays with staff.
Okay.
So if you go to our Facebook page, we got Conrad Francois, Cletus Clendenin was up there, Angeline Muckle-Jabbar, and we just did Laverne Joseph. So if you guys want a good little tee giggle, you can see people back in the day. I was like, what, Ricky? I was telling Conrad, I was like, Ricky, you a MAGA.
Look, I was too, so.
Right, all of us.
We all have evolved.
I'm always telling my kids, I'm like, enjoy your food now.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
There will come a time. I know for me.
I used to be teased. I was skinny. That was the term that was used.
Yes,
and my family was like, you MAGA, but I was skinny, yes.
Skinny,
so.
yeah. I remember when it hit me that I couldn't just continue to eat whatever I want. For me, it was really late. I think I was like 41, 42 when I'm like, whoa, it's getting a little tight.
Something is not set
like
right.
Skin on my stomach.
Oh wow! Well, I haven't seen that yet, and I'm proud to say I just celebrated my 50th birthday in October of 2019. So
awesome!
I'm sure it's gonna catch up to me sooner or later.
Or maybe not. Maybe not. There are some of us that I look at my cousin. So many people know John Abramson.
Okay.
I mean, like a rail.
And he eats.
He eats what he wants, drinks what he wants. It's so unfair.
Life isn't fair.
So Japira, you got us? Here we go. No sound. Ooh.
If everyone can just head to our Facebook to watch our wonderful Caribbean American Heritage Month video.
Oh, we're not going to be able to play it on here.
Yes.
Okay, well, please
check it out.
Please check it out. I think it's, one of the best poems about the Caribbean. And I'm so pleased to have, I don't know if where do you live? In Maryland?
In Maryland, in Prince George's County.
Oh, so Anthony Brown is in it.
Okay.
You're a congressman.
Yes.
Who's of Jamaican descent.
Ah.
And Yvette Clarke. If those of you who are in the Virginia area, Donald McKeechin, who is, his family is from St. Kitts.
Oh, wow.
And he, we didn't really even know that his first name is not Donald. We all call him Donald. His first name is Alston.
Alston. Oh, a true Caribbean name.
Right. And then, of course, the incomparable Sheila Jackson Lee, whose family is from Jamaica through Panama. And Darren Soto, who is of Puerto Rican descent and represents the Orlando area.
Okay, Florida.
Okay.
Good. I would definitely check it out.
Good. Oh, and I did forget one other person, Stephen Horsford, who represents Las Vegas, and he is from Trinidad. His family's from Trinidad.
Oh, nice. Oh, so yeah, definitely a wide range of Caribbean.
Yes.
Oh.
I don't think it's working. Japir, I don't hear any sound. Yeah. No sound, Japira. But just a couple of things to close out. I wanted to close out with everybody. I'm once again plugging the census.
I did mine already.
Yes, please asking people to go and fill out the census. In the Virgin Islands, this is critical to ensuring that we keep the funds that we have, that we get the proper funding. Even if you are not a citizen, we worked really hard. Many of us worked really hard to make sure that there is no citizenship question. This is not about, no one is able to come after you for that. We need to count every individual. So please be counted. Please, please, please be counted. And again, just, want to shout out to Emancipation Day.
Yes, Emancipation.
Emancipation Day. And we have been free-ish since July 3rd, 1848 here in the Virgin Islands. Tell the story, tell the great resilience, the organization, the strategic brilliance of the people of the Virgin Islands that allowed us to be one of only 2 places in the Western Hemisphere to gain their freedom through organized, somewhat violent overthrow. Okay? Our freedom was not given to us. We took our freedom. So, and that's a story that we should never forget. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for being with us.
Congresswoman Stacey Placid. Thank you for having me.
Okay, take care.
Enjoy your day, your 4th today.
I will. Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful Independence Day.
Absolutely. Same.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I Am a Caribbean by Peter Minshall. I am not a European.
I am not African. I am not Indian.
I am not Chinese or Syrian. I am not Amerindian.
I am not American, North or South.
I am none of these. I am all of these. I am a rare hybrid.
I am a richly textured, multi-layered creature, precious as a pearl. The world is my oyster.
I see the world clearly from my island's vantage. I do not harbor the vanities of someone from a
large, vast continent.
I am at the tip of the spear that leads into the future. I am the Caribbean.
They say the Caribbean is a sea.
Yes, I am an island in it.
Much blood has spilled into that sea. All the waters of humanity wash my shores.
I am a Caribbean.
I am Caribbean.
I am Caribbean.
I am a 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 Caribbean. Yes.
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 We are.